expanded grant funding, and continued economic activity within the town. Importantly, this growth is not the result of increased taxes on our residents, but rather the town's ability to leverage these new and diversified revenue streams to support priority investments. This proposed budget builds on that foundation by investing in infrastructure, public safety, economic development, and community programs while continuing to reduce the debt and maintain strong reserves. It reflects a deliberate approach to aligning our resources within the priorities that matter to our residents. A key component of this budget is the proposed reduction in municipal tax rate from 0.1899 to 0.1850. This reflects the tax equalization process. As property values increase, the same tax rate would generate more revenue without any policy changes. To prevent unintended increases on our residents, the rate was adjusted downward. We will also present the town's capital improvement plan, which outlines more than $70 million in proposed infrastructure investments over the next several years. This plan reflects a long-term, data-informed strategy to address critical needs such as transportation, stormwater management, and utility improvement, while supporting continued growth and economic developments in Dumfries. This budget reflects disciplined decisions and continued focusing on delivering results for our residents today while positioning the town for a strong and sustainable future. At this time, I'm going to turn it over to our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Eatman, to walk you through the budget in greater detail, and our interim Deputy Town Manager, Joseph Vines, who will walk you through the capital improvement plan in detail. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Town Manager. Good evening, Town of Dumfries. Today, we will review the agenda and objectives with you. We're going to provide you with a town organizational overview. Then we're going to spotlight recent town events and successes for calendar year 2025. Then we're going to present the proposed fiscal year 2026-2027 all funds budget. That includes grant funds, stormwater funds, street funds, as well as the general fund. We will move into the general fund's proposed revenue budget, as well as the general fund proposed expense budget. Then move into the latter other funds. Lastly, we will end with the proposed fiscal year 2026-2027 proposed budget with the position summary. Then we will move to a presentation of the fiscal year 2026-2027 proposed capital budget. Next slide. This is a structure of our organization under the council manager form of government. The town manager oversees administration, finance, and the town clerk and public safety, while the interim deputy town manager who oversees development services, operations, and community affairs. The town has done a lot in calendar year 2025, having a solid accomplishments and also having a great foundation to build upon. In 2025, the town continued its excellence, as mentioned by the town manager, by continuing to achieve the Distinguished Budget Award. This award was recognized, sent to the town because of its commitment to transparency, accountability, and policy-aligned budgeting. We are excited again to share that our fiscal year 2025 audit was timely and had no material weaknesses. That is, our unassigned fund balance increased from about $1 million to $8 million, and there was no deficiencies in how we reported our books. Calendar year 2025 saw something, the first ever town bond rating. We received these bond ratings from S&P and Moody's rating agencies, achieving a bond rating with AA negative with a stable outlook from S&P and AA3 from Moody's. These ratings signify responsible stewardship of public resources, strong commitment to financial stability. The town, and more importantly, the town can also access credit markets with lower interest rates. Next slide. Now that you've heard the results, the proposed fiscal year 2027 now builds on stronger foundation. Let me highlight a few key highlighted points that this budget delivers on. It invests in the infrastructure. It builds $2.9 million of funds transferred from the town's general fund into the capital projects fund, which will be used to support critical infrastructure needs of the town. This budget invests back into the community. Over $357,000 goes back to the community through grants, programs, special events to enhance the quality of life of the town and its residents. Lastly, it pays down debt. $1.8 million is directly appropriated towards debt reduction, continuing the town's commitment to its fiscal responsibility and long-term fiscal stability. Next slide. This town gives back to the community while maintaining strong fiscal stewardship. The proposed tax reduction rate based off of the equalization or revenue neutral calculation, the fiscal year 2027 proposed budget includes a 3% reduction in the municipal tax rate, decreasing from 0.1899 to 0.1850. This is a direct benefit to the residents, as the reduction lowers the tax burden on residents while continuing to fund essential services and make critical investments in our community. This budget also maintains fiscal responsibility. The proposed rate reflects the town's commitment to balancing affordability for residents with long-term financial stability. Next slide. In addition to the reduction of 3% in the tax rate, this budget also proposes no increases in fees or services. There are no increases in municipal fees or services, and so we can maintain affordability to the residents. This budget, I'm proud to say, is structurally balanced, which means that incurring revenues meet occurring expenses. Lastly, this budget is committed to fiscal discipline. This budget continues the town's strong tradition of strong financial management, fiscal discipline, and supporting long-term responsibility. This budget also has strategic brand investment. It builds upon positioning the town in this community by enhancing transparency and improving public engagement, by strengthening the town's identity, by continuing to fund brand development. It supports economic development by attracting new investments and promoting growth through infrastructure. And it positions this town for the future and growth. Encourages and ensures Dunfree remains competitive and well-positioned for long-term success. Next slide. What does this budget deliver to residents? It maintains strong fiscal stewardship, preserving the town's strong financial position and bond rating, protecting the town from high interest rates or cost, for accessing credit markets. It continues responsible debt reduction, advances the town commitment to reducing long-term debt and maintaining the financial stability. It invests in critical infrastructure, supports stormwater mitigation and other essential infrastructure improvements by directly making the appropriation from the general fund to the capital. And then it also enhances the quality of life. Invest in parks, recreations, community programs that benefits residents in the overall town. So where do your tax dollars go? 43% goes to general government. That's your town administration, planning, municipal services. 19% goes to your public safety. That is your police services, emergency preparedness, community and safety programs. 17% goes to capital investments, long-term infrastructure, facility improvements, roads. 11% goes to public works. That's your stormwater and your maintenance. Parks and Recreation is the 5%, which goes to facilities and recreational programming. And then the 1% goes to community programs. That's your grants and special events. Here's an executive summary of the budget for the 2026-2027 all funds budget. This reflects a significant increase towards funding and supporting of the town's major priorities. The total budget increased by $4.5 million or 31% when you compare it to the fiscal year 2026 amended budget. Total all funds budget is $18.9 million. Total general fund budget is $16.9 million. The largest increase occurred in the general fund, which grew by $4.7 million or 39%. The grant fund increased by $1.4 million when you compared it to the fiscal year 2026 budget amendment. Here is the list of summary of the proposed general fund revenues. The 2027 proposed general fund revenues reflect strong growth compared to the fiscal year 2026. It continues an upward trend in our growing, reflecting the resources needed to support to make sure the town achieve its objectives. The general fund revenues are $16.9 million, an increase of $4.6 million or 44% over the fiscal year 2026 amended budget. Other local taxes increased by $4.7 million or 52% when compared to the 2026 budget amendment. The revenue growth drivers were primarily due to a change in state legislation, allowing more gaming tax revenue to remain with the town of Dumfries. In the next slide, we will take a deeper look at our property taxes. Again, the most important thing to remember is that this budget contains a 3% reduction because of the property tax rate. On our next slide, I want to highlight some of the impacts of economic development and state legislation. The fiscal year 2027 proposed budget reflects positive impacts from both economic development activity and recent changes in state legislation. Let me start with the state legislation. Additional gaming tax revenue. Recent changes to the state legislation, section 59.1-392 of the Code of Virginia, increased the local share of gaming tax revenue effective July 1st, 2026. Instead of receiving 0.28%, the town will now be receiving 0.56% of gross receipts generated at all Rosie's facilities, satellite facilities. This increased our gaming tax revenue from $5.5 million in fiscal year 2026 to $10.1 million in fiscal year 2027. Our additional growth in mills tax revenue is increased activity from new development in the town, including the Wawa and the Rose Gaming Resort. We're expected to generate additional revenues in fiscal year 2027. We're also expected to see lodging tax revenues increase, and as Rose Casino utilizes third-party booking platforms to increase room occupancy. And business license revenue growth will continue to modestly increase as it reflects continued economic activity and expansion within the town. A further look at our other taxes, again highlighting the growth of about 5.5 to about 10.2. 1.2 million from the mills tax to about 1.3 million in fiscal year 2027. And then business license, again, about 250,000 to 257,000. Next slide. Permit fees and other revenues. Permit fees and other revenues is projected to decrease from 233,000 to 160,000. The primary driver in this reduction is building permits or fee revenue, which is sensitive to the increased construction costs and slow development activity across the country. As the interest rates rises, as inflation rises, we have to account for that in this budget. Fines and forfeitures revenues is projected to increase slightly from $295,000 to $310,000. This increase is largely attributed to the DMV Select as becomes more and more popular and people are visiting it. The use of money and property revenues is projected to decrease from 870 to about 850. The primary decline is due primarily to lower interest rate earnings and the increasing the reduction in the steadiness of interest rates by the United States Federal Reserves. So we will be going from 231 to 175, also reflecting market conditions. Fees, permit fees, and other revenues will remain mostly flat. Revenues from fines from Commonwealth will also remain flat. And then the total general fund revenue is projected to increase by 39% in fiscal year 2027 when compared to fiscal year 2026 operating budget. Now we move into a summary of proposed operating expenses in the general fund. The general government is about 5.5 million. Public safety is about 3.1 million, and public works is about 1.9 million. The total increase between 2026 amended budget of about 12.1 to 2027 proposed budget of 16.9 is about $4.7 million, or 46% increase. And now we will turn it over to our town manager to go into some details.
So briefly, I will summarize the changes in the departmental budgets. Basically, as stated before, the predominant changes in this budget are investments in infrastructure. In the town council budget, it increased from 452 to approximately 790. The increases predominantly surrounding travel and training as well as health insurance. In the town attorney's budget, it increased smallly through to health insurance as well as a performance management line. Moving on to the town manager's budget. Oh, you clicked it? Yeah, sorry. Moving on to the town manager's budget. The town manager's budget increased from $1.9 million to approximately $2.3 million. The changes in this budget encompasses a position that was transferred from recreation and civic engagement to the town manager's budget, as well as a newly proposed full-time public information officer. There were small changes in this budget that's attributed to purchase of a new equipment associated with the public information officer, as well as traveling with our lobbyist services contract, and a small adjustment into the Northern Virginia Regional Commission. Moving on to the town clerk's budget, there was a slight increase due to the proposed increases in healthcare. Moving on to our financial portfolio.
Thank you, Madam Town Manager. Our Treasury Division has slightly increased from 696,000 to 738. This increase is largely contributed to the 3% regional tax occupancy tax that increased from 120 to 150,000, as well as a small increase in the salaries to bring up a position to market level. Finance department increased slightly. Again, this is to account for the 8% health insurance increase, as well as the conference and training and office expense. And now I would turn it over to our town manager.
In our public safety portfolio, we had a small increase from $2.9 million to $3.1 million, mostly encompassed in salaries. Last year, we proposed a few positions and we only filled them for part of the year. This year, we're actually proposing to fill them for the entire year. It's the same reflection in their part-time services as well. We've added in a small amount of increase for overtime as things are happening throughout the town. We're having requests for additional services for police and public safety. So what we wanted to do was budget for some additional overtime in that regard. As previously stated, there was an increase in healthcare Throughout the town, approximately 8%. We gave them a small increase in other contractual services so they can buy some additional resources, have some additional resources, purchase some additional machinery and equipment as well. Previously, we stated that we moved vehicle maintenance out of all of our budgets into Public Works Department for consolidated efforts as well. Moving on to our Community Development Services Department.
With the Parks, Recreation, and Civic Engagement Department, expenditures decreased by about $56,000 or 7% in comparison to FY26. If you look within that budget, there was an increase in a particular line, which was the special events line. That increased by about 23% or $30,000. And that was due to increased costs associated with hosting events, and then also funds to support new amenities to help keep the events updated and fresh as we continue to host events for the town. Moving on to the Public Works Department. The Public Works Department, their budget increased by about 21%, and that was due to three particular lines. They all deal with the fleet. Fleet management vehicle repair. We took all of the fleet management vehicle repair from all the other budgets and consolidated it under Public Works. And so that line increased. Our fuel, fleet management fuel, we did the same thing, took fuel from all of the other departments and consolidated it under Public Works. So that was another increase. And then the last line is our fleet management software line. And that line is an increase to support GPS software for our town vehicles. Moving on to our Economic Planning and Community Development Department, that budget increased by about 9% or $48,000, and that increase reflects budgeting for a full-time salary for our town planner position. And with our boards and commissions, that budget remained flat from FY26 to FY27.
Thank you, Deputy Town Manager. Moving on to our debt service. Our debt service increased from about 1.3 million to about 1.8 million. Again, this pays down responsibly the debt that the town has, and also has an additional payment in there to pay down further debt of the 2023 bonds. Also is something new, and ours is a transfer from the Capital Projects Fund of about $2.9 million. This is the revenue from the gaming tax that is in our budget. We thought it'd be best to take those funds and place it into paying off critical infrastructure needs as opposed to going into the market and trying to borrow for capital. If we're getting extra gaming revenue come in, why not use it to pay and build up the town? Next is the agreements, donations, grants, and memberships. This is from what was formerly our non-departmental section of our budget. It's about $78,500. These are a pot of money will be used to partner with community-based organizations or nonprofits that are in the community, looking to form partnerships with them and funding opportunities for them to help enrich the lives of residents here in the town. We will contract with them, the council will contract them with the MOU, and then those names will be provided to the council and public at a later date. Moving forward now with all of the other funds, as we finished up the general fund, we're now going to move into the grants fund, stormwater fund, and street funds. The grant fund was created to centralize most of the state, federal, and other grant programs that we have in the town. It allows us to be able to track and hold account and be accountable. This year, we're doing something a little different. We're listing all of the grants so that the town residents as well as the town council and staff can see what grants we have accomplished in 2027 and what grants are we looking further. Stormwater fund is particularly flat at about 192,000, as well as street funds at 376,000. Moving on, I will now turn it over to our town manager.
Briefly, I will summarize the changes in our positions. In administration, last year we had approximately five and a half positions. This year, we have 6.5 positions, one new request for a full-time public information officer. The town clerk's office had previously 2 positions, and they still will have 2 positions proposed. The town attorney's office had 2 positions. They still will have 2 positions proposed. The finance department previously had 9 positions, and they still will have 9 positions proposed. In public works, they had 7.5 positions, and they still will have 7.5 positions proposed. Moving on to planning, economic, and community development, they previously had 3 positions, and they still will have 3 positions proposed. As previously stated, for recreation and civic engagement, during the budget amendment process, the council authorized a new cultural position, and that position was then transferred into the town manager's office as an administrative assistant. So they went from 5.5 positions to 4.5 positions. The public safety department had 22.5 positions, and they still have 22.
Proposed budget. The fiscal year 2026-2027 proposed all funds budget increased by $4.5 million or 31% when compared to the fiscal year 2026 budget amendment. The general fund budget for 2027 increased by $4.7 million or 39% when you compare to the general budget of fiscal year 2026. The budget of 2027 proposes a reduction in the tax rate from about 0.1899 to 0.1850, or a 3% reduction. The large contributing revenues in this fiscal year 2027 budget is largely attributed to the additional gaming tax revenue, thanks to state changings in legislation. Again, this additional gaming tax revenue will be allocated to support capital projects through the town's capital improvement fund. We want to thank you for listening to this presentation, and now we will present the fiscal year 2026-2027 capital budget. I will turn it over to our town manager.
As previously stated, we are building on results and optimizing on Dumfries' future. The overview of this capital budget, we will provide a summary of the capital budget, a snapshot of the capital budget request in light of a 5-year forecast, and then we will break them down by various departments. The FY27 public works projects, planning, community, economic development projects, requests that we wanted to summarize under the town manager's office, as well as public safety or police department projects. This capital is a 5-year capital budget with a 5-year forecast. The budget also details other funding sources. The capital budget is broken down into 3 components in the town's planning process. 1, long-term projects, which we believe will be completed between FY30 and FY31. Midterm projects, which we believe will be completed between FY28 and FY29. And short-term projects, which we believe will be completed in the up-and-coming fiscal year. Now I'm going to turn it over to our interim deputy town manager, Mr. Joseph Vines, who will take you through some of the projects.
So I will now provide a global review of all CIP projects for the town. This will include a snapshot description of each project. The CIP is designed to be a living planning document that evolves over time. The projects included within the program reflect both current departmental infrastructure needs and anticipated future department and community investments. As the town continues to receive updated revenue projections, completes feasibility studies, and finalizes planning efforts, the CIP will be refined to ensure projects remain aligned with the town's fiscal capacity and strategic development and planning goals. So some of the projects that we'll talk about and mention will not be completed immediately, but will be planned for future funding years, as you will see in slides that we go through as we continue the presentation. So as I mentioned, if you're looking at the presentation, you will see that we have the list of projects. These projects are in order by department. And so we're going to start with the Public Works Department. And once again, I'll just provide a brief synopsis of what the project is. So our first two projects, the Clyde Washington Center, that is interchangeable with the Rescue Squad. It's the same building. And so the first project is the design of the Clyde Washington building. So that provides design services for the new Clyde Washington Community Center and complex. That next project is our Rescue Squad construction, and that basically constructs a new code-compliant modern recreation and community center facility following the completion of the design phase. The Safe Streets Action Plan sidewalk construction. This project will support the installation of new sidewalk segments throughout the town, closing gaps in the town's pedestrian network and improving ADA accessibility. Our next three projects deal with fleet management. First, with our Public Works Department, our Police Department, and then also our Recreation Department. So with the Police Department, it basically replaces aging Police Department patrol vehicles on a rolling 5-year cycle. Fleet management for Public Works replaces end-of-life vehicles, so a maintenance truck and then some UTVs, some utility vehicles. And then the recreation project is the purchase of a van that we currently have in the parking lot and we are using, so we're very happy about that. Next project is our snow blower and dump truck. This will acquire a heavy-duty snow blower and dump truck to fulfill the town's snow and ice removal obligations on local roads. Our mobile Showmaster soundstage unit is a purchase of a mobile stage unit for town-sponsored community events. Right now, we do a bulk of our events at Garrison Park, and so we've been renting stages. So this will give us an actual stage that we own to have those events that's branded for the town. The Quantico Creek Phase 2 construction, Quantico Creek tributary improvements. This basically completes the Quantico Creek Phase 2 work, which is an extension of the Phase 1 work. It includes completing hydraulic studies and surveys and design work to complement work that has already been completed to mitigate flooding in the Prince William Estates community caused by tributary creek flows. Our various stormwater projects, our Quantico tributaries and creeks. This addresses stormwater infrastructure deficiencies in Quantico Creek and the tributary system. Our bioretention ponds, BMP inspection and restoration. This funds periodic inspections and restorations of our town's bioretention ponds. Our Dominion Drive Culvert Improvements Project rehabilitates undersized and deteriorated culverts on Dominion Drive that contribute to localized flooding and road damage. Our Drainage Structure Inspection and Assessments Inlets and Pipes Project establishes a systematic inspection program for storm drainage inlets and driveway pipes across the town. Our Extraordinary Cleaning, Major Outfall Ditches and Channels Project. This extraordinary maintenance cleaning of major stormwater outfall ditches and roadside channels obstructed by vegetation and sediment and debris. And so basically the cleaning maintains drainage efficiency throughout the town. Our Historic Dumfries, Virginia, Inc. building repairs provides funding for structural assessment and priority repairs on our HDVI historic buildings, which includes the Weems-Botts Museum. Our Jeff Simpson Community Center upgrades and structural assessment project funds requested will be dedicated to implementing repairs and modifications to extend the facility's useful life and to address deferred maintenance. Our Police Department facility upgrades building assessment. This is the ongoing repairs and will ensure the facility is safe and supports current police operations until a new facility is designed and built. Our Town Hall Emergency Power System Survey and Design Project funds building survey and system design for a permanent emergency backup power system at our Town Hall building. Our Police Department Emergency Power System Upgrades Project. This is equipment and service and repairs, as well as possible upgrades for the Police Department's emergency backup system. The overhead to underground conversion, Route 1 utility undergrounding southbound. This converts overhead utility lines along southbound Route 1 corridor to underground infrastructure. And the complementary project of overhead to underground conversion, Route 1 utility undergrounding for northbound converts overhead utility lines along northbound Route 1 corridor. And completing that with the southbound will create a fully modernized streetscape for us here in the town. The demolition of 3 buildings at the town waterfront property. This demolition of 3 dilapidated structures at the town-owned waterfront property will clear the site for future development. Our playground replacement and ADA resurfacing at Gibb Memorial Park project replaces aging playground equipment and surfacing at Gibb Memorial Park with ADA compliancy. Our basketball court resurfacing and fence upgrade. Again, Memorial Park resurfaces the deteriorated basketball court and upgrades fencing and some other site amenities at the basketball court. Our splash pad project develops a splash pad play area feature for community use. Our park signage uniformity project installs uniform professional signage across all town parks. Our wayfinding signage townwide project installs a coordinated wayfinding signage system that directs residents and visitors to key town destinations. Our regulatory signage project, which is stop signs and traffic control signs, the funds for this replaces aging, faded, and non-compliant stop signs and other regulatory traffic control signs throughout the town. Summary. Total summary for all Public Works departmental projects is 19 million, about 19.4 million. Now moving on to the planning, community, and economic development projects. And just to note that the majority of these projects are plans and feasibility studies. So our first project under planning, community, and economic development is our boundary line feasibility study. This evaluates and assesses the town's current municipal boundaries to determine opportunities for future adjustments, expansions, and optimizations. Our inventory of housing stock plan. This is going to be a comprehensive plan designed to assess, document, and analyze the existing residential housing within the town. The purpose of this project is to provide a detailed understanding of the quantity, quality, type, and distribution of housing units, which will support strategic planning, policy development, and future growth initiatives. Next is our land acquisition plan and study. This plan is aimed at strategically acquiring parcels of land to support the town's long-term growth, development, and community objectives. Our community facilities development plan is a comprehensive plan aimed at evaluating, planning, and enhancing the town's public facilities to meet the current and future needs of the community. Our Main Street right-of-way improvements project is a strategic study aimed at enhancing safety, accessibility, and aesthetics along the town's central corridor. Our Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Master Plan is a comprehensive plan designed to guide the development, enhancement, and maintenance of the town's parks, recreational facilities, and open spaces. Our Garrison Park Improvement Plan is a strategic plan designed to enhance the park's amenities, accessibility, and overall experience for residents and visitors. The multi-purpose trail along the Dominion Power Line is a planned study to create a safe, accessible, and connected trail system that promotes active transportation, outdoor recreation, and community connectivity. This project leverages the existing Dominion Power right-of-way. Our multi-purpose trail network is a strategic plan to develop a comprehensive blueways and greenways system that provides safe, convenient, and accessible connections throughout the entire town. Our waterfront district development is a strategic initiative aimed at revitalizing the town's waterfront area into a vibrant mixed-use district that fosters economic growth, community engagement, and recreational opportunities. Our Quantico Creek Shoreline Stabilization Project, the scope focuses on shoreline stabilization and environmental resiliency measures rather than dredging activities. This project will address erosion mitigation and shoreline protection along the Quantico Creek corridor. New police headquarters. This will provide a design and construction information for the town's police department with modern, fully equipped facility to support public safety, law enforcement operations, and community engagement. Our townwide bike and pedestrian plan is a comprehensive plan funded through the Safe Streets for All program. It's aimed at improving mobility, safety, and connectivity for non-motorized users throughout the town. Our Safe Route to School project is a strategic plan aimed at improving safety, accessibility, and connectivity for students traveling to and from our local schools. Our Green Stormwater Management Program is a strategic plan designed to enhance the town's stormwater infrastructure using sustainable, environmentally friendly practices. And the total of those projects is about $9.9 million. Our next department is our town manager's office. with our town managers projects. The first project is the public access channel. This reestablishes the town of Dumfries public access channel by building the technical broadcast infrastructure needed to support it. Next is our camera surveillance system. That's a town-wide security system modernization, but it focuses on standardizing the town's security systems across Town Hall, Jeff Simpson Community Center, and the police department. Our Town Hall conference room information technology upgrade modernizes the network infrastructure of Town Hall and creates some updated technology in our conference room. Our town-wide security system enhancements focuses on the police department network modernization and resiliency. It upgrades the police department's network infrastructure. And that is the last project for town manager's office, and that is at $351,000. And our last department is our police department, and their one project consists of our flock safety cameras, and this is an initiative designed to enhance public safety, crime prevention, and law enforcement efficiency through the deployment of smart network camera technology throughout key areas of the town, and that is at $35,000.
And briefly, I will provide a snapshot of the request as well as the town manager's recommendation and the funds that will come from what we call general fund cash. So Public Works had requested approximately $16.8 million in projects. The town manager had recommended funding $16.2 million, of which $1.8 million is coming from general fund cash. In future slides, you will see where those additional funding sources will come from for the rest. Planning and Community Economic Development requested roughly $4.9 million. Town manager's recommendation was close to $1.5 million. From that, $1 million will come from general fund cash. The town manager's office recommended $351,000. The recommendation was from the town manager for $151,000, of which $100,000 would come from cash. And the police department requested $35,000, of which the town manager's recommendation will be $35,000, of which $35,000 will come from cash. I'm sorry, a snapshot of the FY budget request. So a little deeper dive, the town manager recommends $16.2 million for public works, of which she's previously stated $1.8 million will come from general fund cash. $5.7 million will come from grants and other donations, and $8.8 million will come from the bonds of which the town had borrowed. Planning Community Economic Development requested $1.5 million. $1 million comes from cash and $500,000 comes from our bonds. The town manager requested $151,000. $100,000 comes from cash and $51,000 came from bonds. The police department requested $35,000 and $35,000 will come from cash as the town manager's recommendation.
Next is our 5-year forecast. As we mentioned, we have a 5-year build out for our CIP. Town manager just reviewed the 2027 projects. And if you're looking at the slide that is up on a screen, basically what we have is we have the additional 4 years built out for each department. And so with the Public Works Department in FY 2028, they're going to be requesting about $1.5 million, in FY 2029, about $1.6 million, FY 2030, $5.1 million, and then in FY 2031, about $820,000. For the Recreation and Civic Engagement Department, we move to the next request in FY 2030, which will be $50,000. Going to the Planning, Community Engagement, and Economic Development Department, their future requests include 2028, $13.7 million, 2029, $5.5 million, 2030, $5 million flat, and 2031, a flat $10 million. Moving down to the Finance Department, they have requests for 2028 and 2029, it's $300,000 and $20,000 respectively. And then for the Town Manager's Office, for FY 2028, $206,000, FY 29, about $335,000, FY 30, $218,000, and then FY 31, $280,000.
Summary of the proposed fiscal year 2026-2027 proposed capital budget. The additional gaming taxes expected in the fiscal year 2027 proposed budget will be utilized to fund this capital plan. The additional capital gaming tax revenue will be allocated to support the capital projects through the town's capital improvement fund. This is the 2.9 previously stated. The town manager has stated she will not authorize projects until the additional gaming tax revenue has materialized and is in our accounts. We want to thank you very much for listening to this budget presentation of the capital. We want to have a special thanks to our town council, our town manager's department, interim deputy town manager, Dumfries Finance Department, and into all the other town department heads who worked tirelessly to put the fiscal year 2026-2027 budget presentation and capital presentation together. We are thankful. Thank you. Any questions? Sorry.
We want to open the floor for any questions. Sure. Okay. Say that again.
So the grant that was given to the town for sidewalks, is there any idea the planned locations? And could you remind me of the amount again?
So we're currently going through a study, right? We're currently working to bring on the consultant now that's going to help us identify that. And so through, I think, the Safe Streets project, and I do believe that's the grant funding, we're bringing on a consultant that's going to help us be able to identify that. And then the funds from the budget will actually support the actual build out of that. So it's a two-step project that we're working on right now. So the project that I mentioned, the CIP, is going to be the future side of the study that's going on right now to identify those particular areas, and that will fund the money to support that plan.
I also heard you mention that the vehicles, maybe specifically for the police department, but in general, you're going to have a 5-year replacement. How are those being disposed of? Is the town, realizing any net from any sales or anything?
Recently, we have begun the surplus process, and we're going through Gov Deals, through a public auction.
The last question, which I didn't see mentioned, but I couldn't really read it at first. I finally pulled up my phone. But with regard to the waterfront property, considering the prior use of that, what environmental studies have been done, and is that included in the budgeting over either this fiscal year or whatever anticipated time?
So the town has received Brownsville grant funding, about $1 million, and we're actually in the process of receiving the report from them. So then it would come up with a long-term plan for that. Okay, this concludes all of our questions. We thank you all for the time. Thank the town of Dumfries residents and citizens for participating in this process. Thank you, Evan.